Hey you guys, welcome back to my vlogging channel. This is Shamelessly Cam. You might be asking yourself what I'm doing here. Well, it's quite simple, my friends. I work a very stagnant job, so it's an office job. I don't really get to get up and get my daily exercise. So I'm just kind of doing a little suburban hike here around the neighborhood and getting my steps in, basically. Gotta keep up with your heart health, you know what I mean? Been at this for about almost an hour here, and I think it's about time for me to go on ahead and wrap it up. Doing all this walking is getting me hungry. So I think what I'm gonna do here is I'm probably gonna head out, go and get some lunch. And after I get my lunch, we'll hang out a little bit and get to know each other. I'm starting a new vlog series, not a new channel, but a new series on my channel, my personal channel, Shamelessly Cam. I'm gonna coin it Kickin It With Cam. Right? So this vlog series is basically just gonna be me, you guys, hanging out, doing all of those little mundane things that I would normally do on a daily basis. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, maybe going out shopping together, or maybe going out to eat or something like that. Not necessarily reviewing the foods that I'll be eating, but more so just sitting down, having lunch together, dinner together, breakfast together, whatever have you. And having a good conversation. I also realized one other thing here that I wanted to address. I've realized that many of you in my audience who are watching really don't have an idea of why I came out to Arizona in the first place. And that's something that we'll talk about together. That's definitely something that we'll talk about. But in the meantime, until then, I figured this would be a good opportunity for me to give you guys a little bit of kind of a get to know you kind of deal about myself. I realize that the bulk of my audience is not just my peoples from Colorado, but being that this video is going to be on a public platform, it's going to reach a wider audience. So let's get to know each other. Gonna head to my car, we'll jump in and head out. I'll see you guys in a bit.
A few moments later.
All right, you guys, let's go on ahead and take off. We made it to my car. I got my steps in. I am ready to eat. That was a whole hell of a lot of walking. Had to catch my breath, you know, I was a little winded. But anyway, let's buckle up and take off. Hey, remember you guys, always wear your seatbelt, click it or ticket. Remember that. All right. Glad I have my music down. I do this thing where very often I would forget to turn my music down when I start up my car. So when the music comes on, it's loud and it scares the ever-living shit out of everybody that's in the car with me, so I'm getting better about it, you guys. I'm getting better about it. Anyway, as I was explaining earlier, this is pretty much what a Kickin' It With Cameron is gonna look like. Just gonna be me and you guys hanging out for the day. I really hope that you guys enjoy this series. Wanted to make sure that I brought something to the table in this YouTube space, so here we are. Here we are. Yeah, I'm quite famished here. I was thinking about going to this barbecue restaurant not too far from here. It's called Rudy's. Back home in Colorado, there's only one location that I know of. I've never been there, but I just know that it's there through word of mouth. I guess that's where we'll head. It's one of the very few places that I can go to while I'm on my keto lifestyle cycle. One of the few places that I can go to that I can keto-fy. And I'll get a little more into detail about the whole keto lifestyle thing as we journey along throughout the day. But let's just say Rudy's is one of the very few places that I can go to that meets my dietary requirements, if you will. When I get there, I'll order my food, we'll sit down and we'll gab it up a little bit, give you guys some details about me. Since we're doing this, let's get to know each other kind of thing. Hang tight, I'll be back.
A few moments later. A few moments later.
Well, I gotta say, you guys, I love dining outside at places like this. One good thing about Arizona is the fact that this is what the winters here look like. 73 degrees outside on a weekend, nonetheless. I actually really like that. You know, I came from Colorado, and the winters in Colorado is very snowy. And I guess one of the charms about living out here is the fact that I don't have to wake up in the morning to go and shovel the driveway. You know what I mean? That could become cumbersome. So I touched earlier on the fact that I live a keto lifestyle, right? Little story for you about that. Reason why I live a keto lifestyle is because back in, I want to say 2019, late 2019, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I told my older sister about it, and she did some research way before I was even diagnosed on the keto lifestyle. And she reported back that, hey, since you've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, why don't you try keto? Seems to have been helping a lot of people manage their blood sugars. I said, oh, interesting. Tell me a little bit about it. And she proceeds to go on and tell me a little bit about keto, and it sounded good to me. It sounded like it was a chance for me to not have to be on pills for the rest of my life to control my blood sugars. So I hopped aboard. started going on my keto journey. I was severely overweight, obese by the medical standards. I was 232 pounds, and ever since I did keto, I'm down to 165 pounds, soaking wet. So what is keto? High fat, high fiber, medium protein. That's all it is. You cut out the sugars and the carbs, and you add in those 3 factors, and voila, you have keto. That's why I'm eating the way that I am. You know, I got my brisket here that's pretty high in fat, healthy fat, animal fat. Got my sausage, which is also high in fat, healthy fat. And for fiber, I got jalapeno, onions, and some pickles. So that's what brought me to keto. I did say we were going to get to know each other a little bit here, so let me tell you guys a little bit about myself. Just a couple surface things. Couple surface things about me. As you can tell, I am of the Asian persuasion. My heritage is Cambodian, so I come from Cambodia. My family migrated here from Cambodia in 1981. Refugees. We found our way to freedom by escaping the civil war that was happening in my home country there at the time. And we got sponsorship to come and live in the land of freedom. Lived in America all 43 years of my life. Dang, that was a really good lunch. I really do like the barbecue here. I've definitely had better barbecue, but this is pretty decent for where it's located. Although I do need a coffee now. Let's take a trip over to Bikini Bean Coffee and grab me one before we head to the park. And as soon as we get to the park, we'll continue the conversation. Stand by.
Many hours later.
You know, I'll say one thing about Arizona right now. These guys really know how to be festive. They really know how to be festive, especially given the circumstances that it never snows here. They sure do know how to celebrate the Christmas season. I walked by and I saw that giant old Christmas tree there, and for that split second, For that split second, it just felt like Christmas. I mean, there wasn't any snowfall or anything around me, but just seeing that Christmas tree, it really did make me feel just a little more festive for the holidays. I mean, just taking my little stroll here through the park. For what it is, this park is gorgeous. Very modern, very contemporary. I do love this park. I mean, it's not the typical park that maybe you guys are used to, but it's definitely the park for me. I would like to see a little more water around here, like maybe a lake or something like that, but sometimes you just gotta work with what you got. My city is fairly new development, so you can only get so much, you know what I mean? So, man, this is so cool, you guys. I should come to this park more often. I feel like this park was just tailor-made for me. I gotta say that this is an awesome little place that I found here. Never been here before, but it's a beautiful park. Really beautiful park. As you guys can see, I got my coffee. Oh, this is some good stuff. Sugar-free vanilla, sugar-free caramel, heavy cream, iced cold brew. I got it in the largest size that they have. They call it the Triple D size. It is some good stuff. Good stuff. I love the coffee over at Bikini Bean. Normally I would go to, say, like Dutch Brothers or Black Rock Coffee. I stopped going to Dutch Brothers because they stopped carrying heavy cream. So I was trying to find another place that has really good coffee that does carry heavy cream, and Bikini Bean happens to be the one. So sad, so sad. Anyway, continuing from where I left off, my home country of Cambodia was being ravaged by war. It was a civil war. Happened in 1975, I want to say, and the war has lasted several years, to the point where the Cambodian natives had to evacuate the country to try and seek refuge and get away from the entire war. My family happens to be one of the families whose village was invaded by the communists, the Khmer Rouge. Drove my family right out of the village. And as my family was escaping the country to go to the Red Cross camp that was set up on the border of Thailand and Cambodia to seek sponsorship to come to the United States, my mom, my dad, my older siblings, my grandmother and auntie, all of them were on foot during the time of leaving the country. They were dodging landmines, dodging bullets, RPGs. The things that they witnessed on the way to find safety and refuge. Unspeakable things that shouldn't even be discussed. But alas, they found themselves here in the land of freedom, and I'm happy about that. So before I get into a little more about myself, let's go on ahead and address why I'm here in Arizona. I lived a very comfortable life in Colorado. for as long as I've been alive. And very late in my 30s. I want to say somewhere around the time that I was probably about like 35, 36, somewhere around there. My dad was diagnosed with renal failure. And so all of his treatments were done at home in Colorado, where him and the rest of my family were living at the time. But it started to get really tough around the winter times because my dad was the one that was taking himself to his dialysis appointments. And so with the climate change during the winter times and stuff like that, it was starting to get really complicated for him to get back and forth from the dialysis clinic back home. Now during that time, my middle sister, she's the middle sister between my oldest and me being the youngest. She was already living out here in Arizona during that time, and she asked my mom and my dad to come and stay with her for a month or two in Arizona. And they did that. Come to find out that my dad started to feel a little more spry. He started to feel a little more energetic after his dialysis appointments. And so she planted the little bug in his ear, asking him if there would ever be a day where he could see himself living in Arizona. After several months of deliberation and him telling my older brother the story about how he was feeling a lot better being here in Arizona, where the climate is two temperatures, hot and super hot. Told my brother the story about it, and my brother decided to sell the house and move out here to Arizona with my mom and my pop. And that's what brought them here. Now, during the time that they moved, I was living separately from them. During the time, I did have a wife. I had my own house, the white picket fence, the 2 dogs, all of that really good stuff. But, you know, later on, my wife, who is now my ex-wife, her and I grew apart, and now I am a divorcee. So, moving on with the story, the rest of my family who was still living here, the core of my family, decided that they didn't want to be too far away from the folks. So they sold their property and moved out here, and I was in Colorado by myself, living with extended family, basically. And on one of my trips to visit my folks out here, I came to realize that my dad was getting up there in age. He was definitely getting up there in age, and I didn't want to miss the opportunity to celebrate what birthdays he had left. So that's how I found myself in Arizona. And that's why I'm here, doing the best that I can to be a contribution to the care of my folks, alongside my siblings. You see, you guys, the thing is, the reason why I tell you about my heritage is because it all leads up to this moment. It's interesting because the concept in Western civilization, modern Western civilization such as now, you live with your parents. When you turn 18, you move out of the house, you live separate from your folks. You start to learn different things about your life. You grow and develop as a person. And as you're growing and developing as a person, your parents are getting a little more tenure in their life. Year by year, they're becoming a little more tenure, right? And then when it comes the day, you send your parents to a home where they have strangers as their caretaker, and that's where they live out the rest of their lives until they're ready to punch their ticket, until they're called on. I couldn't see myself doing that to my folks, and neither could my siblings. They brought the entire family to the United States looking for freedom and opportunity, and we came here as a unit. During the time where my family got their visas to come to the United States, I was actually still in my mama's belly. I wasn't even born yet. I was actually born on the refugee camp on the the border of Thailand and Cambodia. But with that being said, I couldn't. Neither could my siblings. We couldn't bring ourselves to continue living and having to admit our parents who brought us here to the land of freedom to a home where they have strangers as their caretakers. Strangers that they would have to mingle with and make friends with until they're ready to check out. We couldn't do that. So, I think the logical thing, the thing that made sense to us was, let's live close to each other and take care of our folks while they're still here. Appreciate them. Respect them. Love them. As much as they loved us, appreciated us, and respected us. Anyway, you guys, I'm gonna go on ahead and wrap up this vlog. Thanks for spending time with me. If there's anything that you guys want to talk about, just go on ahead and drop it in the comments. I will respond. I really will respond in the comments downstairs, so feel free to open up a conversation. Let's get to know each other a little more. Tell me some stuff about you guys. But anyway, as always, love yourselves, love each other, and I'll see you guys on the next vlog. Have a good night.